future is here. You now have the power to unlock the secrets of the hobby. An innovation that will change the way the industry works. The game changer is here. Card Ladder.
Welcome to the House of Jordans, episode 39. I'm Kristina, and you can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Kristina's PC, Kristinas PC. And make sure you follow on Twitter the House of Jordans, so at House of Jordans. Today, I am sitting down with the legendary creative team of Panini America. It's such a privilege to sit down with the team that has brought us such amazing sets and inserts that we all collect and love. Thank you guys so much for joining me on Kristina's Corner today.
Thanks for having us.
We're happy to be here.
Awesome. So I'm just going to ask you to quickly introduce yourself and your current role at Panini, and then we'll get started and jump right into the interview. So let's start with you, David.
Okay, I am the legend, wait for it, dairy creative director at Panini America. David Tierney.
Hey, I'm Jenna Coleman, and I'm a designer at Panini.
And I'm John Mata, and I'm an art director at Panini.
Nice. Thank you. I had the honor of visiting Panini America in January of 2020, right before the world shifted, and we're all dealing with it right now. But I had the honor of meeting David and his team, who were very hard at work that day. And I was just this girl who came in with Kevin and pulled out a couple one-of-one Lucas from my purse and got to meet some of the people on this team. And it was such an honor and privilege. And when David said, like, one day, like, we'll sit down and have a talk on your podcast, I freaked out a little on the inside and tried to keep it cool, but I don't think I really did.
That was a complete lie.
Kristina and cool don't really mesh well together in the same sentence. But yeah, so it's just, a few months later, and we're making it happen, and I couldn't be more excited to sit down with you guys today. So thank you again, David, Jenna, and John, for making the time out of your busy schedules so we can make this happen and we can get to know you guys a little better and talk about my favorite subjects, art and cards. But yeah, so let's talk about how long you've been working in the hobby or the sports card industry. What was your career path that led you to this current role? We'll start with Jenna.
All right.
On the spot.
So it was actually just my 4-year anniversary this month at Panini, which seems
congratulations.
Wild. It doesn't seem like it's been that long.
You got that water bottle, right? Panini logo water bottle. You got that?
Yeah,
right?
that's my 4-year anniversary gift. So before that, I was actually hired out of college, but I did work in the sport field before that. It's an obscure sport called spike ball. I kind of got in, found my love for sport design there, doing stuff for the company and doing team jerseys and stuff like that, and had an internship with the Nashville Predators, which just elevated my love for sport design. So when I saw the opening at Panini, it seemed right up my alley. So
Jenna was also on ESPN playing spike ball. I need to say that.
Oh, that's awesome. I don't know much about spike ball, but have you ever designed spike ball cards?
No, we have not. There's been talk about it, but it's not quite high caliber enough for them to have trading cards just yet, but maybe someday in the future.
Okay. I'll be looking out for it. What about you, John?
I started in 2009, believe it or not, as a contract worker. And then it was only, I believe at the time there was only about 2 designers and 1 creative director. And that kind of just shows you, I think within that same month that I was hired, we got the basketball exclusive license. And then it was like build a team overnight. And a majority of the designers that we hired in 2009 are still there. A great deal of them. Some of them have moved up to, senior designers to even art directors now. So it just kind of shows you how much the team has grown. I think we have about 15 total altogether now. And it's just amazing how much the team has grown and how far we've come with the NFL and the MLB Players Association license, and it's pretty incredible. So I've been there for almost 10 years.
And David?
I'm not lucky enough to have been there 10 years like John. John is the veteran of the whole group of the 15 we have. We have one, Lupe, but he started in other departments. Mm-hmm. But I call John the veteran because he's been in the trenches ever since, as long as I can remember. But I've been here about 5 years. I'm just saying 5 years. I started out as an ad guy, so I was more advertising. I was a creative director for a couple agencies, and then I found out that Panini was hiring. I'm like, okay, cool. Photography, design, artwork, and this would be awesome in sports. I mean, I thought it'd be a great opportunity. So I interviewed, and it worked out. And then, I get to work with 15 or 14 talented people every day. And it's just an honor and a challenge sometimes, but they're really talented, a group of people.
No, I agree with that. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of funny how we've come from all across the country. And, we all now live in the Dallas area, and how, just the diversity in the group is pretty incredible. Every day I look at the stuff that people are putting out. I'm like, wow, that's amazing. How much time and effort they really put into everything they do.
Yeah. Well, you could definitely see it as a collector, looking at the cards, how much effort you guys put in. And it's like, I know I've told you this to you guys during my visit, but like this is my art. Besides the artwork behind me, which isn't actually mine, we're on a family vacation right now, so this is a rental. I do not have fish art in my house. I should, right? Right. Totally missing out on that. But this is my artwork. Like, I take my artwork, I put it in protective cases, and then put a slab guard on top of it, and I keep it in a box in the dark, and I take it out and look at it and admire the effort that you guys put in. So I hope that you feel that, like, when you are working, like you remember, like, we all we bid each other up in auctions, and we get mad at each other, and you get jealous at each other for having a certain card in the hobby, and it doesn't make sense without you guys. Like, you are the masters of that, and I just, I can't fangirl enough over the work you do, because like, you are my artists, like period. Like, I don't have anything on my walls in my apartment, but I have a shoebox full of masterpieces that, like, I could take out and look at and admire, and then like, post my collection on Instagram and share it with the community. And it just, I'll just I'll stop now. I could literally go on for an hour just about that.
That's really cool to hear. Yeah, we appreciate that for sure. I think to add to that point, I think we recognize that a lot, and we do our best to try to make something that people want to collect, something that they want to hold on to, not just for monetary value, but for something that maybe they can pass on to their kids. And then it's also really cool when we see our pieces printed and we see the little things that we add to it, the little touches that we think that maybe somebody didn't notice or don't care about as much. When they come out and it looks as good as it does, I think we're all really proud.
Yeah. Well, I'm super excited. So let me ask, what is your favorite part of your job? And it could be like hearing that people collect what you create. Like, I'm not sure. I'm sure that would be like pretty awesome. I couldn't even imagine, but yeah.
I definitely think it's cool that we get to be in a position where as designers, like people actually want to keep our work. You know, like a lot of design positions, you're doing something for a business or for something that people aren't going to keep. They're going to throw away a newsletter or whatever. But the fact that people like actively seek out and that you can go on eBay and see, oh my goodness, someone is paying this dollar amount for something that I made. For me, that's a really cool part of the job.
Yeah.
For sure. I think I try to tell some of the designers that whatever you're designing, like Jenna just said, they're going to hold on to this forever, especially if they get a Luca or they get somebody of great value. You know, like you're not just going to maybe put it in a drawer and forget about it, but you're going to hand it off to maybe to your kids or to a friend, you know, or somebody is going to hold it into great value, great esteem for a long time. And you got to kind of remember that you try to create something that's going to have a lasting legacy. And that's hard to find, especially for designers. You know, everything is just here and gone. And trading cards are hopefully going to be around for a long time.
Oh, I definitely think they are.
And I was going to say what I used to like about 8 months ago is actually going into the office and talking with the guys. And every day we're laughing. Something comes up, we're making fun of somebody or we're joking around, but it was always entertaining. And that's the fun thing about going into the office. But now we have that, but we do it maybe once a week now and we talk on video. That's about it. But in seeing with the designers and art directors and everything, what they come up with is just amazing. So that's what excites me because I get to see something new. We do the packaging, we do the overwraps, we do the cards. There's a lot that this group does that sometimes gets overlooked, even though when you see box breaks and card breaks and you see that overwrap just had a life for about 3 seconds and it's in the trash. And I'm like, we put our hearts into that overwrap and it's in the garbage. So even the overwraps,
we care about that. Yeah. And I mean, even being an art director too, like, you know, I can give an assignment to Jenna. I can give her just a little something, just a little idea or direction that we're thinking about going and just letting her run with it. And then she comes back with some amazing stuff. And that's a good feeling as an art director that like, you're just giving them the little spark and they come back with something that you're just like, wow, I don't think I could have even gotten to that point. And that's a great feeling.
Yeah. Okay. So do you, or did you ever collect cards?
For sure.
Okay. What did you collect or what do you collect?
I remember getting a complete set of Donruss baseball when I was, I think 10. So that was 1990. Yeah. I remember getting that for my birthday. I thought that was pretty cool. But for sure. Yeah. I collected Donruss. I collected almost all the major brands at the time. I think there was a lot more, obviously. But I remember spending a lot of money at the local card shop. Yep.
For me, I didn't even know that trading cards were still a thing until I like found the job posting and I was like, trading cards, like that's around. And then I actually went to a shop and I was just blown away. Like I had no idea that this hobby even really existed. So for me, like starting as a designer, it was definitely like a new world for me, which was very cool to immerse myself in.
And then when I was little, we just collected football cards. But I'm from Pittsburgh, so anything Pittsburgh Steelers black and gold came up. That's mine. But I have two brothers, so we always had to share. But because of that, I ended up being a Dallas Cowboy fan, a Philadelphia Eagle fan. So those are my three main teams. I like Starbucks.
You can't be both. You can't be both, David.
We're getting a lot of head fakes right now to David saying that.
No, you can't be both.
Whatever. Yeah, I'm a diehard Pittsburgh fan.
Okay. I'll forgive you for that. I'm from New England.
Interview over.
Yes. Goodbye.
Oh, sorry, David. Your camera cut out. David couldn't join us for the rest of the interview.
There you go.
I'm so looking forward to this new season with Tom Brady. I'm really looking forward to that.
That's okay. Like you gotta love him, even if he left. He did what any good New Englander does, and he's transitioning to retire down in Florida. So, so we get it as New Englanders that's where you go as a New Englander when you retire. So he's
going south.
Yeah, exactly. So is there one thing that you feel collectors should know about Panini and your work or department that you feel isn't widely known or discussed throughout the hobby? And it could be that like it's the overwrap of like on the boxes and cards that like you design meticulously, and like you said, people toss when they rip open the cards.
That's a great question. Jenna, go ahead and answer that.
Oh, well, thanks, David. I don't know. I guess on that is that we produce so many designs, and in order to come up with like new designs, like it's a challenge, but I don't know, sometimes you get feedback on designs and you have to be okay with like not everyone liking it. But I think that sometimes like we don't always have control over photos that are being chosen. You know, we see a lot of like, oh, why'd you choose this photo? And, you know, we don't really have control over that. And when you have the volume that we do, you know, sometimes it's more of an automated process that we don't, unfortunately, there's no way that we can have control over all of that.
Yeah, I mean, to like Jenna's point, that I think that people maybe should realize is we have a lot of critiques back and forth within the group. So if Jenna designs a card, she'll put it up on the wall, and art directors, maybe other designers will go up there and give their feedback on it. And that design may change 3 or 4 times before it's all done. So it's not like the first design that we put out, that's the winner. That's the one we're going with. We are going through, okay, is photos available for this particular card? Specific photos, for instance. Is the colors work for it? The parallel is going to look good. Is it going to look good in team color? Is it going to look good in foil? Is it going to look good on a substrate? So we go through all these little steps, and you know, we really sweat over the details on it. And then finally, when we're done with it, then we, you know, put our stamp on it, and then it goes out to hopefully get produced at that point. But it may even come back from that and say there's photo issues. Can we design something a little different to help with the photo issues? So we're constantly tweaking things back and forth on a design before you even get to see it.
Yeah. Do you have anything to add, David?
Oh, no.
Okay.
This is their world. I just sit back.
Those were amazing answers, and I appreciate your perspective on that, because that's what I really wanted to do with Kristina's Corner. Like I wanted to hear like what we don't know as hobbyists, like what can we learn and understand more about the process that you go through. So I thank you for giving us that insight, because it's important to remember, like, sure, you guys are putting your heart and soul into every aspect of the card, even the packaging. And like, I think as a group of people, like, we could be more cognizant of like what goes into like that card.
Right.
Like,
I mean, we you know, like we were saying that we speak with the product development team as well. They're obviously very heavily involved on it. They start the process for us as far as deciding what the set should be called. You know, we'll have our feedback as well, but we start with them, and you know, they may have restrictions that we are not always aware of. Like a jersey may only have a few pieces available. Say it's a really prized jersey at that point, and they need to make the swatches a little, you know, smaller or larger depending on the player. We have to be aware of that as well. So we, you know, modify a design, or we, you know, start with smaller swatches, you know. And same thing, speaking with the production department, they may say, hey, you can't print this because it's too complicated, or it's something that's out of spec, or it's something that we've never done before. We may try to push the envelope a little bit here and there, but it's a giant team effort, you know, to get one card produced. And it's pretty amazing when you stop and look at all the steps that you have to go through. It's a little overwhelming sometimes.
all right,
Yeah.
interesting.
Panini is a giant machine, and there's a lot of different departments that help make the product what it is. And there's a lot of talented other groups in the product development team that help us make our job easier, but then also help inspire us too. I mean, they give us some ideas on programs or inserts that help us take it to the next level. So
Absolutely.
So Kristina, quick question of every card or specific card or anything, do you have a pet peeve when it comes to the way cards are designed or laid out,
Yeah,
or why is that logo there? Why is the back horizontal?
We're always open for critique.
Yeah.
I think, I mean, I don't collect every card, right? Like I am very much a player collector, and my PC is Jordan and Luka, and both of which are skyrocketing. So I can't afford a lot of the cards right now. So I've moved on to collect a lesser known player of the Mavs, who I think is super underrated when I want to get a card, because I love the design of a card, but the Luka card is obscenely expensive, and I can't afford it. So I collect Maxi Kleba. I think he's Maxi. I think he's very underrated as a player. His defense is amazing. He's always ready for a no look pass and like a post up or a 3-point shot. Like he's just always there. And I think he should get 6th man of the year, but he won't. But I'm totally I'm sold on him being an amazing asset to the Mavs. And I guess you guys can't control that, but that's one thing that he's not always in the sets.
I think that's a great point. So I think PDT,
PDT is our product development team.
Yeah, they obviously make the players list and stuff, but they have a little bit of restrictions too. Say they don't have a jersey of Maxi, or they don't have a jersey, of a specific player, or they just are not able to put them in the set. But I think they do a really good job of seeing who's trending, seeing who's coming up before you even know of them. I think that's their specialty, and they start adding them to sets earlier than you would even think of, and before you know it, their cards are trending, and you have it in your collection, and it's like, wow, I didn't see that guy coming, and he's already there. So that's it's almost like they see the future a little bit on stuff like that, which is really cool.
Yeah.
And so, Kristina, when you said Luka Doncic,
yeah.
So when that triggered in my mind, because we deal with this every day, are the accents in their names. So we have to find the right fonts with these accents so we can design with these players' names. So
that's something we never used to do.
Luka's name, I'm like, light bulb.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, that's another little.
I never really thought of that. Yeah.
Such a design struggle.
Or
we have to make fonts with those accents. We do that too.
Okay. Interesting. That's really cool to think about. Because you're just like, that's his name. Like the accents are required. But yeah, when I type it out, in my show notes and stuff, I never use the accents because I don't remember from my high school Italian days where the accents are located. That was short-term memory. As soon as that class was over, it was like, I don't need to know this anymore. But yeah, that's interesting. Okay, so I guess I would say that, and then I know people are going to say you should have asked them or you should have brought this up, and it doesn't really bother me because I've spoken to you guys and I've spoken to Kevin about this and the process, but a lot of people always say Panini uses the same photo of a player in multiple different sets. So I know that is a complaint that I've heard in the hobby a lot. So
yeah, I mean, we can't speak totally for photo, and they have their licenses that they have to deal with as well. That's another thing that maybe people don't realize is that we have to have a license to print photos from the specific, Getty and all the other places that we use photos from. So they may have restrictions that we're not totally aware of as well. So again, that's why it's a great idea that we work as a team, because they know if they see a photo that we mocked up with or we designed with, they may come to us directly and say that photo is impossible to get because it's got a different license or it's got a different restrictions that we just simply can't use it. And we may have to then design around that and understand that. And then that's just another little kind of hurdle that we have to get over. But then we try to make something different or better, hopefully, at that point.
Yeah.
And Kristina, to add to that, other than this year, I can't imagine or remember when or if it ever happened. This was the first time we didn't have an NFL rookie photo shoot.
Yeah.
So this year was a struggle for us for images, because when that happens, that's when we plan to do different angles or different perceptions and maybe overhead shots. We had a couple cool photo angles that we were going to do for this year. We're going to do some overhead shots and get some great shots of players jumping and stuff that we haven't seen or done before, but that didn't happen. So we have to struggle and figure that out.
Right.
So that's it. We're always thinking of that, but can we get it every time? No.
She's back.
Hey, Jenna.
Sorry, connectivity issues.
For a minute, but she's back now. I completely understand, and the world's changed, and I'm sure that's going to impact a lot. Especially like draft night for NBA. So I'm a basketball collector. So I know that, we have the Luck of the Lotto sets, insert set that is draft night, and that's photo shoots that happen on draft night. Right. So you have contingencies for that, or is that gonna be other photos that you're gonna use for that set? Have you thought about that yet?
We definitely
we thought about it.
Yeah, we definitely thought about it. Yeah. It'll probably be a little different than what you're used to. We haven't totally nailed down all the details on it yet, but I mean, it could be even something unique that you've never seen before too, which would be kind of cool.
Yeah, I have faith it's going to be awesome. But yeah, so I'm excited to see how you guys innovate through this COVID process where you can't get all of them in one photo with Adam Silver.
Exactly.
Because it would be it would look like this. It would look like 4 different or 20 different squares on a Zoom call.
It could be. Maybe it's
hard.
It could be photos from their house. Who knows? It just depends on what we have available to us at that time. I mean, we do design so far ahead as well, because it takes a long time to print these things. And so we're going to have to pivot a little bit and do something a little different, but I think it's going to work out just fine.
And I think our group has done extremely well with this transitional time, moving from work from home, where we're used to being in a room together, and I can just be hey, John, can I bounce this idea off you? Can we go to the art board? So that's definitely changed for us, but I think that our designs have increased. We've done a very good job of adapting. So I'm looking forward
very proud.
How we adapt if our photo options are even more limited.
Yeah. I'm excited to see how you guys adapt with the times as well. And I have faith. I'm waiting patiently, not patiently. I'm not a patient person. But it'll be interesting for sure. And so I know that production schedule, and this isn't really your area, obviously, but I know production schedule got delayed because of COVID. Did that impact your team at all? And are other teams at Panini coming to you and being okay, this is the new production schedule? Has that been set? With the NBA restarting their season tonight. It's Thursday, the 30th. So they're starting tonight, and then they're talking about then starting again in December. That kind of messes, or the new season starts in December. Does that kind of messes with your schedule? Have you guys laid out a timeline for the next season yet?
Next season we haven't started yet, but as far as our programs and our design schedule, we just kept it moving forward. We just kept designing. If anything, I think there will be a little congestion when you go to print. But when it comes to our designs, we're kind of building templates or concepts. So with the photography, we just use an FPO player sometimes, unless it's a one-off design we're working on. So we're able to just keep moving forward. So everything else will just be added in later.
Okay. That's someone else's problem. You guys are going full steam ahead.
Well,
I like it.
Yeah, it's not our problem, but yeah,
we don't have the answers yet, so we're going to design what we design, and you know, if we have to adjust it later on because we don't have the assets that we need, then we'll do that. But for us right now, we're going to keep going on with how we normally do things.
Exactly.
Right. I like it.
And programs do get moved, but again, that's beyond our control. So we let the sales team take care of that. But yeah, we just keep churning, keep designing.
All right.
We've been lucky to actually be able to do that. So to do it from home,
Very lucky.
and because of the system we have set up, we use a Proof HQ system. Everything's digital. We can review cards. We can make corrections, make changes, call things out. Everything's digital. It's been really great. So we have a great team and departments that just made it easy for us.
Very.
We have some great leadership at Panini. Believe it or not, we really do.
I believe it. So in your opinion, what is Panini's most underrated or undervalued sleeper product? Or it could be a certain card. It could be something you design.
I put my heart and soul into this. Decades of Speed. It was a NASCAR card. It was an insert.
Okay. Decades of Speed. Okay. It's a NASCAR.
It's one that I worked on.
Okay. So you're saying racing as a product as a whole, or just that particular card that you put your heart and soul in?
Oh, it was an insert set for the Don Russ program. I was supposed to do 12 designs. I ended up doing 6. I had to get other designers involved. It was a mess. It took me 6 months, I think, to design 6 cards. It was great. That's why I do what I do.
I think that there's a lot of underrated sets that I can think of. One of my favorite ones that I don't think gets enough is Plates and Patches football. That's one of my favorite ones. That one we completely redesigned. Derek Villar was one of the designers on that one. He kind of took that one under his wing, and I think we worked together on just completely stripping the program down to the bare bones and came up with a completely new look that I really love a lot. I think it's clean and it really uses a foil in a unique way. And it every year it's like one of my favorite ones to design for sure. And then Jenna created a program all by herself too. Elements, right?
Yep. I was going to say some of the smaller hobby programs like Elements, and one of my favorites is Luminance as well. Those two were both ideas that came from our design department. Usually our brands, they're already said they come from PDT, but they were looking for some new ID programs, and those were the 2 programs that got chosen. And Luminance is neat because our designer, Jody Beamer, he figured out a way to use full action photography, full bleed photography, but in a new way. So it has some filters on the photo and then a bright flow on top of it. And I just loved how that program ended up looking.
Yeah. I agree. And Chronicles is one of my favorite products for basketball because it has all of these different sets that then get retired, I guess is how Kevin phrased it, into Chronicles. And Elements is one of the products in basketball, I believe, in Chronicles. Correct me if I'm wrong.
I think Elements might be a standalone. Oh yeah, no, I think you're right. I think it does have a little bit in basketball. Yeah, because we don't do a full Elements program. That's how. Yeah, Chronicles is a good one because you almost get a little bit of the best of the best, if you will. A little bit of everything, and it gets kind of put into that product as well. So, if you don't normally buy that particular product, it's cool to see that one.
Yeah,
as a best of the best.
Yeah, and I like the previews in Chronicles as well. Yeah,
it's a nice set.
Yeah. That's awesome. I love to hear what you guys think. People aren't paying. Oh, we lost Jenna again.
Jenna's gone. I was distracted on that one.
She'll bounce.
Jenna's on an island, so she's in a little island. The reception isn't that great.
Yeah.
Oh, she's on it. Like, is she literally on an island?
No,
Oh.
where she's.
It's an inside joke.
Oh, okay. I'm like super gullible and
No,
like,
no,
I'm in the
you're
northern
fine.
woods, so I'm like, oh, like she's on vacation too. Oh, here she comes.
She'll be back, and she's back.
We didn't say anything about you, Jenna.
Okay, good. Hopefully nothing bad.
Just that you're on a Caribbean island enjoying life.
Exactly.
That's not true, but I wish that was my life.
Okay. So if you will you walk me through the process of creating a set from idea to implementation? Like you said, product development team, PDT brings you an idea. Sometimes, other times they come looking for an idea.
Yeah, I guess I'll start, and David and Jenna. It basically starts with the kickoff meeting that is even way before us. That's usually you'll have the accounting department in there as well, and if it's a legacy program like a design that we've done before, like a National Treasures or Prism, they'll have that kickoff meeting. They'll go through the things that worked, the things that didn't, the budget, and then after that, it does go to PDT, and PDT will take either take the program from the year before or just kind of modify it a little bit based upon that feedback. After they have their work through on it, they send it back to budget. Budget approves it, and then they meet with us, the design group, and then we'll go through the idea of what we liked about the program last year, what we can change, maybe new cards, maybe our ideas on how to improve it as well. And then
to jump in, so what John's talking about, there's a creative brief that's made, and there's a creative brief meeting, and that has the lead art directors and the lead product development team members from either basketball, football, soccer, or whoever's responsible for that brand. Mm-hmm. They'll meet with the art directors, and then they'll discuss each card, each insert, each parallel, each design that's needed for that program.
Yeah, and if they had a question, like for instance on Prism, if they're like, can you think of any other new parallels we can create or new colors that we've never used before? And that's when we usually can chime in and say, have we tried tiger skin? Have you tried, zebra? Have you tried, whatever? And then we'll go through the design process. Like I said, if I was an art director and I assigned it to Jenna, Jenna would take that particular card and she'd start working on it. And she's going to look at and know that it has a swatch or it has an auto or it goes on a parallel. These are all things that she needs to be aware of as she's designing. You can't just design and not know what it's going to have in it, because that's a recipe for disaster, obviously. Then when we're done with the entire program, we send it to production, and production will start looking at it and seeing, make sure we're within budget as far as foils, substrates, all the things that we designed. We may have surprised them. It may have changed a little bit from the original kickoff meeting to this point. And then after that, it routes around the building. Photo will have their say. Again, PDT will have their say, production, accounting, and it gets produced.
And then also during the design process, they also have to keep in mind the substrate or the paper that they're printing on. Then that includes a white plate. Does it include an etch? Does it include a foil? Does it include a PMS color? Exactly. Is this also going to carry on from basketball to football? Is it going to be in different sports, this program? So I got to plan ahead in my head and make sure that all these designs are to be cohesive and work through all these other templates and designs and players and team colors. And is it a dual card? Is it a dual player card? Triple player card? All these different things.
And that's why it's important that we have good designs as well, because we hand it off to our pre-press department, who at that point takes those cards and makes a card for every player in the set. And I mean, that's a lot that they have to do at that point, and a lot of things they have to keep straight. And if we don't have a good template, then obviously they can't follow it the way we expect.
Personally, that's one of the biggest struggles as a designer, is that if you choose a photograph and you're designing around the photograph, it might look fantastic for that photograph, but it might not work for every position. If you've got like a player going up for a layup, well, that's a pretty unique position. So I think as designers, we really have to keep in mind, okay, this has to work for any photo, for any team. which I think is important to keep in mind.
I think that was the biggest struggle for new designers. Whenever we have to tell them, this looks amazing. You made an amazing one-off card. But
we can't produce it.
Exactly. Yeah. Will that work for James Harden? And that'll also work for Maxey. Will that work? And if you can't answer that question, or you think, well, yeah, it'll look good only for this particular player, then you need to go back and try again and see what you can do to make it work for every player. Unless it is a one-off card, which those do happen, and those are awesome. Those are really fun.
Those are our favorite projects because you get complete control over it. You know exactly what it's going to look like. At least for me personally, I love when the rare times we get to do that kind of thing.
It's like making a poster at that point.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's kind of how the designers treat packaging, because they get to pick the photo, they get to color correct it, and they basically build a world around that one photo, and they know it's going to stick. It's not going to need changing. Yeah. So that's why even our packaging is sometimes, to me, over-designed, but I think it's great.
No, obviously you can't see it because I'm not in our studio at home, but on the bookshelf behind me where I usually sit for Kristina's Corner, I do have packaging like that sits like I have a Prism box from 1819 that I actually framed. It's a blaster box. Like I framed because I really liked the photo and like the packaging, but also like when you unfold it or like when you fold it up and you put it in a frame, like it creates this cool like shape. So it like adds another dimension to the artwork that like it's flattened into a frame. And we also then have like other boxes, including some sealed boxes that we haven't ripped yet that sit behind you. So like it, like I said, it's our art. Like even the packaging is respected in our house because you do notice it. I sometimes guest break for my LCS, like my local card shop, and it's my favorite thing is opening football or racing or like UFC or soccer because I don't normally open that. Personally, like I like to collect basketball, so I'm not gonna like spend money on football because like I don't know what to do with the cards afterwards. Like I don't really know any of the players except the ones that are on my fantasy team that year. But like just holding the box like before people like say yes or no, like that's the box they want to rip. Like I always like take a moment and I'm like staring at it and I'm like, wow, like this is a beautiful box. Which,
it's funny you said that about the box. I mean, we work with our production department as well, and we also sometimes have our say if we think a box should go in another direction, especially the ones that have the less amount of SKUs, the maybe the little higher end products. We can have a little bit of a say, like maybe change the substrate on it. You know, if we think it's worth it, if we think it's going to make people feel like the value is a little more there, maybe add foil if we can to the box. You know, some people do hold on to them like National Treasure boxes, and it's pretty funny the things that people have done with those boxes.
Yeah, I think I've seen some guitars being made out of those boxes. It was just crazy to me.
Yeah, I opened a case of National Treasures in 2018.
Wow.
And one first off the line box that I was lucky enough to get from you guys. Wow. And I have all 5 boxes on my bookshelf, and I always think like I want to make something with these, but then I'm like I don't want to destroy them to to recreate something else. So I always like go back and forth. Like I'll have an idea and I'll be like, this will be really cool to make with these boxes, and then I'm like, but then I have to like rip them apart and like saw them down or do this, and I'm like I think I'll just leave them and like
leave them be,
marinate on it for a little while, and then I always decide like no, I don't want to do that with the box. Yeah. Okay, so I know Jenna's talked about elements and luminance as like her favorite, like what that was like her favorite set to design. But is there a product or a set that like your team fights over, and it could be those one-off cards that like everyone wants every year, and you kind of have to like, whether it's like veteran status or you have to do like a submission process, is there a product like that, and how do you deal with everyone wanting to participate in designing that set or
That's
card?
a good. I'm just going to add this one thing for the Donruss programs, because it's carries on. It's our flagship brand. It goes from football to baseball to racing and even soccer. But we want that look to be consistent between the sports programs. So we did have our art director, Brad, has been doing that, I think, the past 2 or 3 years. I think he's going to want to pass the torch this year. So we get to figure that one out. But that's an important brand for us. So
I think a good one is hoops. When you speak on that, because every card is so unique in that set, where you try to do something different, and they all have really fun names. There's really fun looks, and it's almost like anything goes. And I think whenever we assign those out to the designers, I think the designers are always really excited to do those, because they literally know that they can do just about anything, and the crazier the better. So we've seen some pretty cool stuff come from that.
Can you think of any that's on the cutting room floor, John, that never made it?
Yeah, put me on the spot. Good one, Dave.
Was it Wade's pickle card or something like that?
It might have been that one. Yeah, that one was a little too weird.
What I think is cool about our department, though, is I think if you asked each designer like what their favorite program is to work on, like you wouldn't have too many duplicates. Like we have a lot of variety in like the styles. Like the art directors usually know, oh, like this person really likes and really excels at more simple, elegant designs, so they might put them on flawless. Like they know us as designers well, and kind of tailor to our strengths and try to put us on programs that we like to do and that suit our style.
I think that's a great point.
Yeah. That's awesome. Okay, so what is your greatest of all time, or dream project? Personally, it does not have to be sports card related, or it could be like designing an entire product like by yourself and like having your own, like your name on it, and like maybe like actually having your name credited on the back of a card, which I think is really cool because it's a way to get to know the designers and the artists behind the cards. So I would say that, John, and if you guys were asking like what I would want to see on the card, I would love to see who designs the card, so that you could like almost collect that artist beyond just the player. And you could be like, I have all of Jenna's like,
my grandma asks the same thing. She's like, can't you just put your name on it? And I'm like, no, Grandma, I'm sorry. Like,
no,
that's not how it works.
Yeah.
That's funny. I think for me, it was working on Kobe stuff, for the Kobe Eminence. I thought that was an incredible set. Obviously, now it's even more, it's kind of sad a little bit. But that's something that I think I'll always remember working on for sure. It would be, I don't know, the group that we have, I feel, are very humble, and I don't think they would want to put their names on the back of the cards, as funny as that sounds. I think it's because I think they see themselves as a team. It's a little cheesy to say it, but it's the way I feel like they are, and they help each other out constantly. Maybe Jenna will design the front, but Carlos or somebody else on the team will do the back of the card for her, and based upon what she's already created from the front. So I think it's just a giant team effort. I'm not sure anybody would really want to put their name on the cards.
Maybe like one set that's like,
maybe one set. Yeah, we'll do one.
It's specific, like this is like the design team set,
and do like one-off cards. That would be so cool.
Yeah, exactly. Like it could
because that's our best work is when we're given.
Who do I have to talk to? Tell me their name. I'm gonna contact. Like,
it would be a true artist proof at that point, right?
Exactly. Yeah, it would be like an artist proof set of like each individual team member, and then their names on the back, and like I would love that set. So yeah, okay.
All right, I'll make
take that
note.
back to the team and let's marinate on that. Find out how we can make it happen. If I have to start a petition, I'll totally do it. You'll see me at National with like a clipboard and a hazmat suit in December.
I think there was one card, one of the art directors, I think it was Brad, and it was maybe a passport card. So he used a bunch of initials from people in the group as
I think that was
for
Lupe.
the code or something
Lupe
like
on the
that.
lottery card.
Yeah. Lupe. So there's a little Easter egg on that one, which is kind of funny. There is a number, it looks like a random number, a random sequence of letters, and he used the initials of all the designers in the room on there. So
that's cool. I'm gonna have to go on eBay after this and buy that card so that I can have that card in my collection.
Well, Jenna, what was the card you did with the maze in the background?
Oh, Crunch Time. So actually a fantastic example. Crunch Time, it was 2 years ago, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Alex Ramirez had done the front, and it was a cereal box theme, playing off of brand name cereal that I won't name. Sometimes, like you said, like designers would do the front, and if I'm freed up for something, I'm like, hey, like what can I help out on? Like, hey, can you finish this back for me? So I took the concept of the cereal box from the front and on the back, made it look like, a retro kind of 90s cereal box that had a maze, and the maze went from start and it ended at the team logo. And so that's I love doing cards like that. It has a super fun concept, and the nutritional value, like that's where I put the copy and like the number information. So
okay, all right, I'm gonna go look up that
going
card
above and beyond. I think that's the key right there. Is some people may ignore the back of cards, thinking of it as just a throwaway design, but that just proves right there that she took the time to really put a special twist on it, and we're hoping that the next person that picks that up, flips it over, looks at the back, realizes that and sees the value in that. Even down to the copy. We adding copy to the back of the cards, the editorial department, which I failed to mention earlier. They even kind of give us some ideas as far as creating cards as well. And we try to think of new angles that we can talk about. For instance, we did a shoe cards in Noir. And for the sneakerheads out there that want to collect a card of their favorite player, but also showcase the shoes on there, we had one of the editorial department writers write specifically on the shoes and knows a lot about streetwear. And I think that even that little touch on there was a nice added bonus.
Well, John, even I think it was the Chronicles designed one of the originals said you wanted to do like a magazine ad. Mm-hmm. So you had some copy written to customize with that magazine kind of look and feel.
Right. I think we did another one where we showed the players coming in to the game, what they're wearing, the brands that they're wearing, the streetwear that they're wearing as well. We showcased that as a card, and then we also talked about what their favorite, what they usually wear, which is, again, another cool little angle.
Yeah. One of those that you guys did that for this year was the City Hollow. And you talked about this, like a little, like it was a little write up about like that city or like something unique about like Dallas. And I know Chris, my boyfriend and co-host of House Jordans, like loves the City Hollow cards. And like during a podcast, like he like flipped it over and he read the back and he was like, I didn't know this about the shopping center in Dallas. Like,
yeah, exactly.
So,
right.
Yeah.
We have a huge staff of editorial writers. And they find these angles and these little details that you not normally know about, the player or the city. And it adds to the value of the card, I think.
And also how much time, just like us, how we're putting time into it, like that's a piece of themselves. That's what their passion is. So they're going to add those little details or do that extra research to get that extra cool angle because, they're producing it too. So
absolutely.
We can share a room with them, it's cool that we have the kind of the two creative departments in a room together where we can bounce off ideas off each other.
Nice. All right. So do you have a dream project, not like a project you've already created, but something you want to create in the future? It could be like a 5-year, 20-year goal, or it could be like, this is what I want to do next year for this product.
I don't know. I guess being able to create one, like it's completely your idea. Like you kind of start it from scratch. Like I got to do with elements. Like that was my favorite project I got to do because I had so much control from the ground up. So for me, like getting to being tasked with, okay, like here we have a new program. We're thinking it needs to be on this substrate, but that's all like, what ideas do you have to make something new and fresh? I think that for me personally, that would be something I would like to work on.
I think for myself, I think it would be cool to do not a best of again, like a Chronicles, but something along that line. Maybe resurrect some old brands that have kind of gone away and then kind of bring them back as a retro set or something. I think would be really cool. I'm always looking in the past, I feel like. So I think that would be kind of a cool project to work on.
I would love it if we got to do more hockey products, because hockey is my favorite sport and it's the one major license like we don't, well, besides baseball, that we don't have. And that would be a dream to be able to work on hockey cards, but
that shows how old
out of our control.
I've done hockey cards. They are cool.
I've been inspired recently to do maybe an artist proof set. I thought that'd be really cool.
Yeah, I don't know where you came up with that.
Yeah, I don't know where that came from, but I think it'd be a great idea. Maybe do some metal frames and all kinds of cool stuff.
Are we gonna have inspired by Kristina on the back there?
Exactly.
I wouldn't need credit. It's totally fine. I like it would like blow my mind if that actually happened. I also have another idea. I know you're
okay. Hold on.
Hold on, we're writing this down.
Yeah.
I have plenty of ideas. We can take this offline if you want. But you're into animal prints for Prism and Choice, and leopard print for the girls. I think would go a long way. So yeah,
So you get
we're on the corner first. So if it happens in the future,
a leopard print maxi Cleva card.
Yeah.
Put you over the top.
Oh my gosh, I would die.
I think some, like Lisa Frank inspired, like purple and pink leopard could on some shiny substrate that could look real nice.
I mean, you
laugh about that, but like Jenna, if you think about it, all these like interesting colors that we've been maybe in the past we were afraid to try and use now that we use now. It's really cool. I mean, some of the combinations on the colors that I think we used to maybe be afraid of that we fully embrace now are really cool.
Yeah. I love Origins. And I believe I said this when I was in the room with you guys. I like ripped Origins as a football product. And I was like, this is amazing. When is basketball going to come out? And I said that to Kevin and he was like, like wink, wink, like don't worry about it. Yeah. And then it was like, and Color Blast as well. And I love like, I love but hate that like other products get it first sometimes. Like you can see it and you'll be like, oh, this would look awesome with like a jump shot or like a hard pass or and for basketball, and then you guys come out with it and like you get so excited because you're like, I kind of like saw the preview in another sport and now it's basketball, and then I'm sure other sports say the same thing. Like basketball gets it first for this product, and then we had to wait for it to come out for racing or for soccer. But yeah, so I enjoyed that aspect of Panini. Like sometimes you get a preview in another. Preview. Yeah, exactly. Okay, yeah. It would be really cool if you did an artist set, though. I would die. I would buy like so many boxes of that.
We'll work on it.
Yeah.
I know, like, so we're already an hour in, and we're like halfway through my outline.
Part 2.
Do you guys have time for like a little more time, or are you guys on a clock and you're like, oh, we should probably like do like one more thing and wrap up?
Yeah, let's do one more thing, wrap up, but then we can always do a round 2.
Yeah, there you go. We'll bring on more designers.
Yeah.
I'm so glad you said that, David, because I was probably going to ask you to do round 2, even if we got through the entire outline. So thank you for offering.
Well, Jeremy in the group would be a sequel, right? We'll do a sequel.
Yeah.
Yes. Perfect.
And then a sequel, and then a trilogy, and we'll be good.
And then it'll just be like a 7-series Harry Potter novel.
Done.
Perfect. We can do like quarterly check-ins with the art team or the creative. Yeah. And like, what do you work on now? And what was your favorite?
It would be cool to like take questions from like your viewers, because like we don't really, besides online forums, like we don't really get that feedback. And so if they had anything or any specific questions from collectors or you know, questions about design, that would be cool as well.
Yeah, like we'll definitely set it up so that like next time we schedule something, I'll like open a forum so that people can write in questions, and we'll curate it a little bit.
That'd be cool.
And then I'll ask the questions from them. Just so it's not free for all.
That'd be a little dangerous.
I get, so I can only imagine. Okay, so let me end with, are you aware that your art and your cards inspire artists in the hobby to create art from your cards, or they inspire them to start their own, like this is what I would do if I was part of the Panini team, and I could design a Zion Williamson card, or some people cut up your cards and create art from it. Like, are you checked in on the hobby at all with the art scene?
Jenna?
John?
Okay, I'll go first. The first one that I saw that was like an artist rendition was actually pretty recently, and it was Zion's rookie prism card, and it was a chalk drawing, which I was amazed at. Like, I don't know, I guess because we don't like have that one-on-one feedback. Like, you know, I designed the card and I'm happy with how it looks, but I never really like think about personally, like, oh, someone else is like holding this, that someone else might be inspired to do something else. So for me, like it's a more of a recent revelation. And you sent some links, and I went through like some of the Instagrams. Like, I had no idea people were painting on top of our cards and, you know, taking our designs and reimagining them, which is neat to see how other people would spin it. But for me, it's been recent that I realized that people were doing that. So it's a very cool thing.
And as for me, sometimes I'll go through, you know, design Twitter, and I follow a lot of sports designers as well that maybe work for other colleges and other places, and I'll see some of their designs, maybe making their own versions of a trading card or inspired by some of the trading cards that we've made. And I think that's pretty cool to see that maybe we didn't know directly that they're looking at our stuff. Like Jenna said, you know, we may not have that direct one-on-one feedback, but it's obvious that they are seeing it and they are being inspired by that. And that is a really cool feeling. And plus, you know, if we see a story or a video of a kid pulling their favorite player and they're just losing their mind over it, and you just know that you kind of helped a little bit in that, that's an amazing feeling.
And then I think it's great, and I feel proud that our group of designers are that talented that people are willing to do that. I mean, it's an honor in a way. Maybe there should be more conversation though with that. I mean, there's always that legal challenge. It's like, oh, we talked about it, so that means it's my design, and you guys did something similar to that, so I'm going to sue. I mean, that's the challenge we have when we try and brainstorm with people outside of the company or work with other illustrators or designers. There's always that, oh, what if, oh, you guys are making money, I want my money too. So you got to figure out that balance. And we, you know, that's why we're weary to use outside talent sometimes.
Yeah, I understand that. And I know one of my friends in the hobby who creates these like reimagined what I would do for basketball cards. If they were in an artist set and I could like redesign a rookie card, like what colors or designs would I use? He said people ask him to print them for him, and he's like, no, because I don't want to burn that bridge like with Panini. Like if Panini's like, we want you to like design a card, but you've already illegally printed cards that didn't use licenses, like, so we can't use it. Like, so he's like, no, like, I don't want to step on, like, it's just digital. It's just fun. Like what people do with the photo, that's their business. But like this is just right now, like something that he's doing. And he gets retweeted by you guys, and like we all get excited because it's really cool. But yeah, so shout out Kevin.
I think a lot of the designers in the group would be really surprised to know that they have fans out there of their work, and it's just to them, they're doing their job and they do it very well, but it goes another layer above that, and I think they would be really happy to hear that.
Yeah, you have an amazingly talented team. So I know that you use in-house talent because you guys are such an amazing talent. But would you ever consider maybe collaborating with fan art at all, even if it was a digital set or something like that?
I think it's a great idea. I'd love to do it. I mean, we've even had conversations with a gentleman from Estonia. I mean, that's like a 13-hour, I don't know, a 13-hour plane ride. I forget how far it is, but yeah, we've shared ideas and concepts, but there's nothing we can do about it. But if we can do something, I would love to do it. I think it's a great idea. I mean, that's another. We have the artist proof I got to work on now, and then now we got to work on collaboration with other outside sources. So yeah.
All right.
Thank you.
So I gave you your homework.
Yeah.
We'll check in again and we'll schedule something. Is there anything that you want to let people know about your team or your work that you want to end or ask me to end today's conversation with?
I'll just name the designers.
Yes, please. Yes. Let's give them all credit.
Yeah, we've got Lupe Partita, we've got Ashton Vaughn, Wade Ryan, Cody Peterson. Of course, we got Jenna Coleman. Got Eris Brookings, Carlos Moreno, Jody Beamer, Jeremy Coward, Trey Hattier, who's another art director, Brad McQuarrie, who's the other art director, Alex Ramirez, and Derek Villar. Yes, I did write them down so I wouldn't forget because it's been so long that we were in the building together.
I was waiting for you to miss one.
I forgot where everybody sits. And then obviously we have David, our creative director as well.
Yeah. As one representative. Oh, yeah.
Do I know?
What'd you say, Jenna? I'm sorry.
We missed one, Ashton Vaughn.
I said Ashton Vaughn.
Oh, you did?
He was second or third.
Out again. I just wanted to make sure he got named.
Did you get Eris? Did you bring up Eris?
I said Eris.
Yeah, I heard Eris.
Did you say Lupe? Mama Loops? Did you get Mama Loops?
I got him.
All right.
Okay, I love it. I love the camaraderie that you guys and
all day. All we do is
guys.
We
Yeah.
constantly.
It's definitely a very fun environment.
That's
all
awesome.
we do. That's awesome. Okay, so if there's nothing else besides them, let's end this and we'll get offline and we'll schedule something for the future. So I can't wait for round 2. So thanks everyone. Thank you, David, John, Jenna, and their entire team for coming on today, and the entire team, themselves included, for bringing us what we love, which are sports cards and my favorite subjects, as I've said, art and cards. A million times thank you for the opportunity to sit down with you. It was such a pleasure, and I'm so excited that we got this insight into what you do and a better understanding of the processes that you guys have and all of the hard work that you guys put into it. I think that some people forget oftentimes that there's an entire team that's behind one card that they're searching for. And I think that as new people come into the hobby, maybe they're not even thinking about that at all, not even forgetting it. They're just seeing a card and they're like, it magically comes into this pack. And they don't realize all of the work that goes in behind it. So you are appreciated. And as a representative of the hobby, I just want to say thank you for everything you guys do. We love your work and we appreciate you. So thanks again. It was such a privilege. And I appreciate everyone for listening and tuning in today. And make sure you look for us in the future because we'll be sitting down again with the creative team from Panini. So thank you, David, John, and Jenna, and the rest of the team.